my friend. I'm going to do a quick little live video for one of my students. We're doing a recap, and what we're doing is we're talking about the possibilities of part writing. Part writing is kind of boring if you do it from one idea, which we kind of determine this. I really enjoy writing in many different styles, and of those many different styles, what I try to do and try to experience through the eyes of being a beginner writer with my students is to use the circle fifths and then pick a key and try to write in form and write a melody. So we're going to do a quick little idea of this. I do this with all of my students to make sure that they can get and wrap their brain around what a progression looks like, and actually just how to form musical ideas and concepts in their heads and be a little bit more, I don't know, not so timid, I guess, would be the best way to explain it. So without further ado, we're going to draw the circle of fifths. If anybody wants to ask any questions, that's great. And remember, keep it clean and classy. One of my students is going to be watching this as their recap. C negates G. Then we have D, A, E, B, F sharp, C sharp. That's our circle of sharps. When we have C, it has no sharps and no flats. When we have G, it adds one sharp, the F sharp, and then thusly it adds a sharp all the way around until we get to C sharp, which has all of the sharps. It has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and then B sharp. This is the key of C sharp. Each one of these goes through there. Now, I'm not going to write out all 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but we're going to probably pick a key like G that has one sharp in there. So let's just keep that one up there and show what the circle of flats looks like. This is called the circle of fifths going this way, and it's called the circle of fourths going this way. So if we go F, F, G, A, B, B, C, D, E, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, D, E, F, G, G, A, B, C, and that is our circle of sharps and flats. So when going through here, if we were to pick one of these key signatures, as I aforementioned, let's pick an easy one per se. We're going to pick the G. So I'm going to write a 1, 4, and a 5. I'm going to take my 1, 4, and 5, put them up there. Here's my G, my C, and my D. Then I'm going to take my 2, 6, and 3, put my A, B, and C. I'm sorry, that's not right. A, B, and my brain's not working there. A, B, and then E. And then lastly, in our major 7th position, I'm going to put the sharp that's in the key of G, the F sharp. Having said this, these are the chords which I'm going to build my song from. And the one thing I would like to try to do is to not put the notes after, but to put the notes beforehand. When we do this, we're able to pick out the notes that are in the key and use our circle fifths to judge relativity. And what that simply means is the chords that are in this grouping are going to sound better together than chords that are outside, and the whole idea is to write a melody and use chords from outside of here inside of a chromatic idea or from away from the chord. I use something called the major or the minor harmonic progression, which allows me to move through some notes relatively quickly. All of these have different feelings, so each one of them is viewed a little bit different. But the long story short is almost all music does this. It's going to want to, sorry, ran out of room there. Each one of these does this. In fashion, you don't have to do it the same way, but when you do, it actually leads to some pretty cool things. So right here, when we're looking at this, we can tell that we're going to be in the key of G. Oh, hey, how you doing? That Lego guy. My name is WAGO. It rhymes with Lego. I get that all the time, guy. I just wrote that song for you. Kale, don't be angry. I'll write you a song too. Dabrowski, how you doing today? Elizabeth Hobart, almost failed my math test. I'm bummed out to hear that. Well, I hate saying it. Maybe instead of watching me pontificate about musics, we should be studying the maths. What level math are you doing right now? Anyway, I'm going to keep on with this. When I put a beam on here, we're solidifying our staff. Let's just do this on the treble clef, act like we're writing for the left hand, or ukulele or something that's up in the higher register. Remember, if you're used to writing music like this is a way to do a melody. Let's try to pick some notes here from the key. If anybody's in the comment section and you'd like to throw out a couple notes in order, they could be like B, C, F sharp, A, G. Anything you want to do, throw it my way. If I don't hear something in a second or so, I'm just going to pick some notes and go from there. The clarinet. And can everybody see in here? I guess this is a little further away. Let's move this in here. You're in 5th grade, right on. So you're, that didn't answer my question though. I asked you what you're working on. So basic mathematics and stuff, that's groovy. Well, Elizabeth, I wish you well on that. If your teachers have not taught you already what the practice of practicing the practice is, that's kind of what music helps people do. If you can learn this nonsense, then you can learn anything about math. And remember, math comes in stages just like music. You don't have to grasp all of it right now. I didn't understand basic algebra until I was in my 20s. So there is hope for everybody. Cool. So let's see. Anybody pick a note or anything here? Anybody hanging out? Aw, cute. Put the music teacher on all. Yeah. Gosh, why we listen to these? Oh my gosh, why we go listen to things like that? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that was that a sentence. So anywho, let's throw out some letters here. I say maybe we could just start with our G. We're gonna put this one right here. After that, maybe we should move in steps. So going to A, and then a little jump, we could go up to C, and then maybe down here we could go right back and return to G. Now, if I was gonna fill these in, I'd do this one like as a quarter, this one as a quarter, this one as a quarter, and then this one as a quarter. This kind of sets the melody. Huh. We have a 1, and then we have a 2. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ooh, really loving that flat 7. So maybe we could throw that in there and keep a mind in. What was that note? It was an F natural? Okay, cool. I'm going to go up here to the F line. I'm going to put a little natural on it. And then I'm going to keep it as a half note because I really want to put into the idea that that note is special. Ha, 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 ha. Interesting. Ha, 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 ha. Ear training and writing is best done like this. If you could go through a melody and write out something simple using note for note, it becomes a lot easier. Tell you what, sometimes teachers are people too. I know that I've got 30 plus students. I get a little frustrated sometimes when people aren't doing what they're supposed to, students young or old. I gotta say this, that when you get older, you have the perspective to realize that everybody that you know is in a state of pain or suffering or happiness. Sometimes people shed their anger and their hate and their self-doubt through means that they're subconsciously not viewing. Meaning, maybe your teacher doesn't really dislike you. Maybe they just have like a disliking temperament. Maybe it's not even you. And if it is you, don't worry about it. People suck. That person will change. You're going to get a new teacher in 6th grade, 7th grade. And then when you get older in college and you'll realize, you know, teachers are just people too. Let it go. The crux is this. Studying the math and doing well on it is your personal goal, right? Unless you don't care about it, then don't do it. But if you do it well. That's what I'm saying. Do it and do it and do it and well. So if I was going to play this one, we would have G. Oh, we're above middle C. My bad. G, A, and then we're going to go to C, G. Ooh, I like that. E flat, D, E flat. So I'm going to throw E flat, D, E flat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This is a triplet. A triplet. Fill in our note head, note in coffin. And because we're going down here to our E flat, we're definitely going to need to put that in our key signature. So put a flat right in front of our flat here. There's no need to put a flat here in front of this note because this note takes care of that since it's in the same measure. 1, 2, 3, E and, or 3 and or 3 and 4. And then we can have a quick rest. So we're going to throw an 8th note rest in here, close off that measure. And that leads us to another measure. AC/DC, what's up, buddy guy? How you doing today? Can I still see the comments on this when I have it in large view? Can you see the comments on this when I have it in large view? I don't know. You know what? I should have a student right now. Where are they? Where are they now? Where are they now? Oh, what a bummer. They missed the first 15 minutes of their lesson. All right, can you use me as a recorder? Can you teach me how to use a recorder? Yeah, what kind of recorder? A audio recorder or a musical instrument? The soprano recorder. Got all the fingerings out there. I've got them both ways. I learned how to play it funky style. Does anybody go snowboarding? When you lose goosey food, you... Yes, flute. Once you learn the basics on the flute, regardless of what hand fingers you have, you can play some pretty cool, fun melodies on here. I enjoy playing it because it's the same fingerings as an E flat instrument. And I use it to work on modes, like Lydian. I don't like the fingerings on the soprano though. I always get jumbled on them. The pinky's the worst one to use. But yeah, check out this channel. It has a bunch of different chords for the recorder. Anywho, getting back to our melody, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rest for the and, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. And here, we're gonna have another measure. Anybody want to throw out a note there we can see? What up, Christina? How's it? You're eating that up. Oh, it's good to see you too. AC, I always enjoy seeing you there. Melee. Oh, Meme. I thought you said melee. I thought that was a Hawaiian word. 318 said, "How can I teach you how to use a recorder?" Check out the channel. If you dig it, that'd be great. And remember, everybody throw Elizabeth Hobart a little bit of love. She's in 5th grade right now and having a little issue with the teacher. Math's a hard subject. You don't need to have double hang down because somebody's got to hang up. Anyway, Becky, thanks for being here as well. Can you song Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters? I learned that one the other day. I watched the video too. I thought K-pop was a series. I didn't know that it was a movie, unless I'm crazy and wrong. But I thought K-pop was also a Korean boy band. So I guess I'm at that point where I'm 45. I'm too old to understand any of it. Makes sense that I shouldn't understand any of it. It's not for me, it's for others. But when teaching the music from it, it's not bad. It's in like E flat and B flat and A flat, which is really cool because most music and popular music they aren't in those keys because they're hard. Many songs are in G or C or F, something basic. Those are in E flat, A flat, D flat, lots of sharps and flats. Anyway, hey, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't already hit that like and subscribe, do it. There's a plethora of different musical knowledge out there. I'm safe. I'm non-toxic. This is a safe place for anybody who is... it's a safe place for everybody. We don't stand racism or sexism or homophobia here. We're just pretty much keen on anything. We don't talk religion. We don't talk any of that. I talk about whatever I want to. This is my channel. But I know that children watch this, so the long story short, not a kid's channel, but kid-friendly. When we're doing this, WAGO, 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 WAGO. Can somebody throw me a note? If not, I'm just going to play the melody and hit it. Hit it. Triple in, ha, ha, da, 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 E flat D C B flat A G F ha, so we have an E flat, E flat, 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E and A, ha, A G F sharp. So I'm gonna do a 16th back to back, or an 8th note, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and have a rest on top here. Here's what our melody feels like thus far. And then maybe a chord at the end. Let's have a common chordality tone change. Let's end it with the relative minor. No, let's end it in G minor. All right, who cares? Let's get to that in a minute. So here's the whole point of what I was sharing so I can share with my student. Sometimes melody writing works out the first time, sometimes it doesn't. If you don't like what you're doing here, you could change them. This measure seems a little static after, not static in the form where they're all the same note, but it's using the same beats. So maybe here what we could do is use this and do like this. Take this and turn this into an 8th note. Excuse me, please. Now it's an 8th note, and I'm going to turn that into a dotted quarter. So now instead of having 1, 2, 4, instead of having, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, ha, 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 ha. That gives it a little more vibrance, a little bit more swing over the top of just a standard 4/4 beat. Would you send a super chat or whatever it's called? But I broke. Oh, hey, if anybody wants to send super chat, that's fine. I'm a broke individual. The whole point is, don't really do this channel as far as just for the money aspect. I just got monetized. It is super nice if it could pay for a tank of gas to get to work. However, that's not really what this is about. If you like the channel, subscribe. Do me a solid. Share this with somebody you haven't talked to in a while. See if they enjoy music in this nature. Ha 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 ha. And maybe we can do the same thing. Actually, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna repeat just this measure right here, and I'm gonna do it voice below. So right here, I'm gonna do the same thing as this last measure, but I'm gonna do it voice below. So the whole thing is gonna have this. And then I think it should land on a G major. Very nice and full. Gorgeous. Whole note across the top. G is our 1 chord. We're going to throw it right here over the top of this first chord. Let's see what works. You ready? Here's where the music theory comes in. Hey, Hayden, how you doing? B sharps. Right here. Hayden, I'm jumping back to you. Are you here? Hayden, you're the only one that actually threw out some music stuff here, so I'm going to engage with you. I hope you become a member someday, too. B sharp diminished 7 to a C sharp minor. So if we do B sharp diminished 7 to a C sharp, where'd it go? C sharp minor. Okay. Can I do this melody over the top of that? That feels like a gentle giant thing. You know what? If that's supposed to be over the top of this melody, I don't like that. Ixnay. But how about this? If we were going to change that, we could change one of those notes, the B sharp. Oh, B sharp diminished 7 to a C sharp. Sorry, I played B diminished. So a B sharp diminished 7 would be this. I don't know. That actually kind of worked. If I use that melody with that that movement, it would have kind of put me in a G minor and B flat, or a relatively D minor or D major, because C sharp diminished would be the lending or leading tone to get back into my D, which has two sharps. So great suggestion, but I'm going to move a different way in this direction. The notes that we have here in this first measure. Oh, groovy. We've got a couple of younger folks in here. Remember, can everybody that's in the comment section please keep it clean? If there are people that are younger here, please use etiquette and decorum. Don't put anything weird or cussy on here. This is a place for fun and joy. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves, but learn a little music and ask questions in the meantime. Anyway, with the first notes here, we have a G, A, a C, and then a G. So G, A, C, and then G. If I had a G major, that would be G, B, D. So that works for this chord. So we're going to put the one chord here because it makes sense. And usually in phrasings, when you have an idea which goes from one point to another, this is called a motif. Our motif is our melody. The end of here ends on a 1 and begins on a 1. Well, that's pretty strong when we're using our major or our minor harmonic progression. Oh, look at that. The clear of the nonsense is in there. So if we're doing something up here, you see how with this, if we started here on the 1, it will eventually want to go back to the 1. Our 1 chord here, our next key, had our F natural in it. So the top note on this line is our F natural. Well, let's see. There isn't an F natural in this key, so we would probably want to use the flat 7 here. Well, what do we say the flat 7 is? Flat 7 is the same as our major 7, but our minor 7 is just now a simple F, A, and C. In the key of G, we will have 1 sharp, that's the F sharp, but since we're not playing it this way, we're going to be calling it the flat 7, meaning it's a minor 7, but we're building a major chord off of it. The other notes in here are E flat, D, and E flat. E flat is also not in here. And if we were to play an E flat with a G, we would have this augmentation which builds a lot of tension, like a super amount. Hear that? When played with the triad, kind of feels like the X-Files or something really weird. Anyway, oh, thanks for subscribing, very much so. Oh, it's your favorite song right now? Right on. That's a good one. I like the harmonies when they bust into the chorus. It was really cool. And then I like the animation with the fire in the background. And I like the fact that they're singing on a stage. It was really cool. I enjoyed it. I watched about 5-10 minutes of it. Anywho, this is our E flat. There really isn't this E flat here, but if we were going to build off of a note off of this E flat, we can do an E flat. We would have a G and then a B. Because the way we spell any E chord would be E, G, B. When we play E sharp, G sharp, B sharp, we get fragmented chords. They're nothing but E, G sharp, and B is an E major. When we play E, B, and G, this is our domin. So if we had E, G sharp, and B, and we flatten the G sharp, this is an E minor. When we do an E flat, B flat, and a G, we get our major. When we get a double, we get a minor. I would say that staying away from there and working with our 7 chords is probably where it's at. Here we have the E flat, this dissension run. I don't know. I'm thinking we should go with the F sharp diminisher, which is moving into our F sharp, A, and then C. This is our 7 chord. Here's what the piano part would feel like underneath with just the chords, and then nothing to do with that melody there. Just the chords. Here we go. Hey. essentially what we're seeing here is in this key, I've written a little melody which can be considered in the key of G, or it can be considered in the key of E harmonic minor. Reason being is when we play E major, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, and then D sharp. When we flatten the 6, the 7, and the 3, we get the same key signature as G. If we add back in the lending or leading tone, it turns our E minor into not having a major second resolution, but into having a minor second. That gives us a lot more tension. So when we use that F sharp, it really brings it back home. When we really use that D sharp, it brings it back home as well. This is an idea in part writing. What we did here next, you would probably add something like, if you wanted to go slow, you could put largo right here, largo. You could also put this with another bass part and put it as part of a period where you can write out a whole bass to go along with it. Essentially what I did was I just drew out our G major here for our 1 chord. I can't write that way. G major here for our 1 chord. And then when we changed our chordage, we would move it to where we are here. So our G, when we go down, this is note below F, A, C. You can put the F up here if you want there. I'm sorry. F, G, A, C, F, A, C. Here's our diminished. We're still going to have F, A, C, but now we need to alter this. So we're going to be having our F sharp, right? It's in the key signature. This one needs to be naturalized because that's where it would hang out. And then right here back to the G, we would return down. See how we're not really doing anything super special as far as our notation. Sorry, that's so sloppy. Got a little crazy with my pen. So the idea is you too can take notes that are inside of a 7-note diatonic scale, put them in here. If you need to make slight alterations, I would say do an alteration in the beginning to the 7th. The flat 7th is your minor. If you're going to do any one, it would be changing the tonality of the song. But try to keep with writing triads and see where those melody lines link up for your notes. This is a great way to write a little ditty or have something in your head and then put it out on paper or staff paper and then come back to it later. Now, this little melody, if I were to just sit down and play with it for a little minute, let's see what happens. I hope everybody's having a good day out there. So if I was just going to play with this melody, I think it should go between major and minor. I think this little ditty should have a common tonality change unto which you play with the G major, A minor, D minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, G, and then play with its relative common chord, G minor, A diminished, B flat major, C major. Is that right? No. I apologize. C minor. G minor, A diminished, B flat, C minor, D minor, E flat major. F minor would be your natural minor into G. But as we were just aforementioning, if we put back in the lending or leading tone on the 7th, on the key there, we would actually put back in the F sharp, which would turn all the other chords different. G minor, this would be our A diminished. This would be our B augmented. This would be our C minor. Gemma! This would be our D major now, because we put an F sharp back in the key. And then we would have our E flat major. And then we'd have our F sharp diminished. And then that concludes our harmonic minor. Well, I really like going in between here with that. Gemma, how you doing? We're writing a melody. Let me slow it down. doing good. I'm doing okay. I had some weird stuff happen to me in my personal life. Long story short is, it's amazing the amount of wisdom you have when you get older. I wish I would have had that wisdom when I was younger, but honestly, when you're younger, you're supposed to make poor decisions, I think, and learn from your mistakes. Some people don't. That's why I believe in the sentiment there are no adults. There are only children that never grew up. Long story short, I learned a very, 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 very valuable lesson about letting things go and being okay with life as it comes. And there's no need to hold attachment and to have grief. Just get over it. I'm very thankful for my wife. I'm very thankful for this music community. And I'm super thankful to be able to have the ability to go to therapy to discuss my issues and problems with people that want to listen, even though they get paid for it. Long story short, I really appreciate everybody hanging out here. Orlando, what's up, brother? ¿Puedes tocar los pies en diferentes cero? Ahora no. No por físico. Estoy tocando piano para 10 años, pero por 2 es un profesor de la música. Pero, no. ¿Qué eso? Es Franz Fritz, Cerro, ¿qué semana se llama? Un momento. Cerro que hacía. Sí, say 0 is my name? Or say what my name is? Is that what it says? What's my name? How do I get to the interwebs? There we go. Fritz, Franz Fritz. Let's see if I know it. Will pop up if I just put in Cerro. No. Here, let me go back to where am I? What's going on? Music reminds me of two people figuring out how to resolve a discussion. Yeah, it should be. That's a good observation there. Who just wrote that? Anthony, that's a good observation, my guy. Essentially, music is that observation. It's between the antecedent and the antecedent, just like literature is. There should be a moving line where you hear a da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ha-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then a call and response of sorts. Ha-da-da-da-da-da-da, you use a lot of the motifs that you use in the first phrasing, and then you change those up so you have a little different feeling later. Orlando, I don't think I could play that right now. I think I mean, I'm glad you understand. I'm not that good. In fact, my Spanish is rusty enough I couldn't remember how to say I'm not that good. I'm not that good in Spanish for you there. But I'll check it out. I've never heard that one. Cero que así se llama. Cero que así se llama. Cero que así se llama. Something about never call my name. The winner. No problem. Honestly, I don't know a lot. I'll look up more of Frank Fritz. Cool, thank you. Cool. Right on. I always enjoy being turned on to new artists as well. Very cool. So let's see here. I think that's going to conclude what we're doing for part writing today. Does anybody in the comment section is watching this and has a question about what we just did? Yeah, the call and response is a lot of what I work on. So if I'm trying to do like a... It could be a phone ring. I was just thinking of you, Melody. Not you specifically, but a Melody. Welcome. How are you? You know what, Melody, how old are you? Do you mind me asking you? Oh, thank you very much. I find that there's not a lot of younger generation, I assume females. I don't really know any males named Melody, but not that it matters. Generally, from my age group, I'm 45, there were a lot of Melodies. Are you above the age of 30? Not to ask a woman their age, blah, blah, blah. I would like to speak in music, but I don't have any knowledge of music theory, but you remind me of music teacher in high school. Anthony, how old are you, my friend? If you are 999 years old, you probably have a couple days to learn on this planet. If you are under the age of 45, which I am, you have the rest of your life to learn this stuff. 5 minutes a day goes a long way. Subscribe to this channel. Become a member. Support me in my dream, and I will take time out of my day. If your name has a green name here, I will definitely answer any music question. Remember, you should always go get lessons and support somebody like myself in your local community that teaches. And when you learn something, stay in your own lane. Share it, teach people, give it away for free, and then each day try to compound upon it. You don't just become a music teacher by one day waking up and wanting to teach music. This has taken me a long time to do. And in that same turn, you don't just like become Jacob Collier leading orchestras and do overnight. Has talent. How you feel about that is a different thing. Hey, thanks. Oh, Anthony, there you go, buddy. 5 minutes a day. Jump on my channel if you have 5 minutes a day. Set a reminder. Go view any channel. A good place to start are the Ask a WAGO series. Talk about everything from chord construction, extension chords, how to view triads, what's a dyad or a harmony, how to look at the grand staff and like pick all this stuff out of the air and go, oh yeah, well no, that makes sense, blah, 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 blah. So long story short is, I encourage all of my students to write, have fun, and just get a basic vocabulary for music composition, which means if you know how to go, there are no sharps or flats in the key of C, and you can play all of these chords, which are basically doing something called tertiary harmony, where we skip a note in between each one. They build wonderful, wonderful structures. And honestly, the whole idea with our hands, if we could keep our hands just by going, hi, Christina. How are you? So everything I just did right there is in the key of C major. I turned to a F minor to change the modality of one of my chords to build some more tension, and then went right back into C. The reason why, C is the 5 chord in the key of F. When we change to F minor, we have switched to the key of A major, or I'm sorry, A flat, or we've switched to the key of D flat or E flat. Either way, F minor's in it, so it works quite well because it's a relative common chord. So everything I said seems like blah 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 blah. Wah 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 wah. Oh, Anthony, you get this, right? Wah 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 wah. Yeah, that's how it is until it isn't that. Until it's like wah 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 major wah 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 diminished 7 flat 5 jazz chord wah wah, and then inevitably you start seeing melodies everywhere. Cool. Thank you for being here. Remember, if you have something that you need to be doing in your day, don't waste your time here. Listen to me pontificate about music nonsense. Go do what you need to do. Come back and visit the channel. I would love it if you subscribe to the channel. And gee golly whiz, I can't tell you enough how much I would appreciate if somebody would throw a little bread in my jar. Every tip and every super chat goes to us building a music community center here in Hilo, Hawaii, which hopefully, you know, I'll be here when everybody gets on their own, gets on a plane, comes out here. Long story short, my name is WAGO Howard. I teach music here in Hilo, Hawaii. I absolutely love what I do. I am transitioning from labor to music full time, and when you support me in this channel, you are quite literally supporting my dreams. Which is all, hey, thank you for all the accolades. You guys are super sweet. Let's see here. Does anybody have a music question? I should have a student right now. The fact that my student isn't here right now is troublesome. It's problematic to me because I'm worried, and that means that both of them are going to be missing. Cool. Rather be spending your time learning music. Good for you. Well, let's do a little music concept then. Such is life. I probably won't share this live stream with my student because it got a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. I was just going to write a part. However, this for me was a good experience too, being able to share it. And here's the fun and weirdest thing about music. As soon as you're done doing the music aspect of it, it's gone. It's over. Erase it. It's over. But the one thing that won't ever go away, I won't ever forget my circle fifths. I won't ever forget how a diatonic scale works, and I won't ever forget how notes go on the staff, because after you do it over and 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 over, it just becomes second nature. And I know there's some youngins here in the group, in the chat. Remember this. I might seem like I know a lot about music, and I do, but that's because it's relative to what I want to learn. The people that I take lessons for have so much more knowledge in their tool bag, way more than I do. So I know what it feels like to be around musicians where they're like blah blah blah, and I'm like, what's going on? It's really a take it in moment. So in life, if you're doing algebra and you don't understand it, remember, you might be really good at trigonometry, and somebody's going to tell you that you need to have algebra to do trig. On some level, fundamentally, yeah, that's right. But on some fundamental level, you have the rest of your life to do this. After I got out of high school and became a young adult, worked jobs, played in bands, tried doing lighting jobs, sound jobs, rigging jobs, what I learned was, one, I'm good at anything I put my mind to. Two, I really wish I would have paid more attention in chemistry, because I absolutely love chemistry and covalent bonds and doing chemical equations now as an adult. I'm not in school, but I still do them. Why? It itches that part of my brain, which is awesome. So as far as what we do in music, there's a certain level of music that is just baseline music theory. And I'd like to ask a couple questions for people who are hanging out. Mike is making stuff. What's up, dude? How you doing? Fun questions. Can you do an inversion on piano? For sure, there's a process of inversion on stringed instruments or on guitar. Yeah, let me show it through the eyes of both. What a great question, Mike. Thank you very much. Hey, thank you very much, Dad. When we're doing this over here, let's say we're doing guitar on one side and we're doing piano on the other side. Now, they're both C concert pitch instruments. When we're playing in the guitar, let's say we're going to take the inversion of, I don't know, let's pick, how about A minor? When we play A minor, it's in a key as the second, it's in a key as the third, and it's in a key as the sixth. Because in each diatonic scale of 7 notes, you have intervals. Those intervals are distances. This is called the major second. This is called the major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh. This is what you call a diatonic scale. Because when you play any triad created from a 1-3-5 or skipping a note, you achieve a chord that has a harmony called a dyad. Hence diatonic. When you have 2 dyads, it makes a triad, which is a chord, like an A minor. A minor spelling is A, C, and E. So wherever you put these in, A, C, E, the other notes must fit. Well, the 2 chord in the key of G is A minor. When we have the 3 chord, it's in the key of F, and in the key of C, it's the 6th chord, meaning all of these keys work quite well to experience A minor. We're going to show you what an inversion looks like, because when we use the Roman numeral system like this, we can tell that our chords, we can tell that our chords are based off of 3 notes which are stacked tertiarily. If we had this on a stave, let's say the treble clef, we would have A, C, E. Notice how they hit all the spaces and skip the lines. If we went down a clef, we would still have E, but then we would have C on our ledger line and A2 below. This is how you would see an A minor in the 4 region, and here's how you'd see an A minor in the 5 region. When we're looking at inversions, there are 2 different ways to write them and read them. Actually, there are 3. However, we're only going to talk about 3 of these right now. One is called the root position, onto which you would just spell it ACE, and it's stacked from lowest to highest as such. When we play in the first inversion, we remove the root note, and it starts with the third of the chord and places the A anywhere else. When you have a chord like an ACE, and you play an ACE in a first inversion, that first inversion can be played anywhere as long as the ACE has one of the C's lower than the A. Interesting? So even if I put a C down here, that is a minor in a first inversion. If we were to take the E and put it on bottom, that makes an inversion on the piano. So the whole idea behind seeing it vertically on a piano and then letting it register for the guitar itself is a huge deal. By doing this, we're allowing ourselves to see that the notes that we stack change their positioning. But the truth of the matter is wherever that foundation is, that's talking about whether a chord is the 1, the 3, or the 5. And when you're utilizing just chords in triad form, the root is always on the bottom, third is stacked in between, and the fifth is on top. When people are like professionals, when I'm teaching, it's one thing, but when I'm sight reading music, I'm not reading every note that's on the piece of paper. It's vague ideas of what those notes are because I put in 200,000 hours on a instrument trying to just go G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp. When you go through your scales and notes, these are ways that it lines up your brain and your hands to have motor skills. By playing music in real time, that's when you get to experience the music, which is a real bummer because music takes a level of dedication unto which if you don't dedicate 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 years, 10 years, a whole lifetime, the aha moment or the zen moment or the chung or the oomph, that thing that you go, oh yeah, it doesn't come. So you get bored with music. But the people who are like, they don't worry about one note going wrong. I don't worry about one note I hit wrong. It's about all 200 trillion notes that I hit this year. That's what music is for me. So by seeing this, what we're simply doing when you're sight reading, here is what a first inversion looks like and a second inversion. Along with our treble clef. Hey. So here we go. All 3 different representations. Let's say we're doing our A minor. Here's A, C, E. Let's say we did our A minor here and we want to do it in first inversion. Let's just put the C down here. And then we could have our A and then our E. There you go. There's an inversion. You don't need that note there. You don't need any of it. You can put it there. It doesn't matter. And then here you would have the E on bottom. So if E is the bottom line of the treble clef, throw an A, throw a C, and then maybe an A up here. Who cares? The E is on bottom. There are no sharps and flats in the key signature, therefore it doesn't matter. But if we did go to here and we played this G and we put a sharp here, it still charismatically would not affect the A minor because it has nothing to do with the F. Same thing here. If we were to go to the key of F and put this note down here, now we're in the key of F or D minor. Well, it doesn't matter because there isn't any change to the ACE. Hence, A is in each one of these keys. And then lastly, if we kept this one in C, it would be fine. Or A minor, as it were. So on piano, that's one way to do it. On guitar, it's another. So if we were going to just like look at our root foundation, here for our chords, our A minor on a guitar in first position would be E, C. We've got our G. No, that's not right. There's our A. We have our E, and then our A and our E. This is our A minor in first position. It's in root position, but notice how this E is here. So this chord would be this unless you zoned out that E. That gives us our A minor. If we wanted to go up, let's say, to the 5th fret, and we put a bar chord on this whole thing, right? We would be playing our lowest note, our A, right above an A, we've got our D. D, go before D, E, F, G, G, A, B, C. When we keep going up here and we find in our notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, that's how you work up your scale of fifths. There's 4 notes between here, and in between these, there's 3. These are all perfect fourths because the guitar is tuned in fourths. And then when you go up, you find yourself doing between the G and the B string, going up a minor third, or a major third, because that is the interval. Cool? Oh, sorry about that. I'm the worst. Can I get a thumbs up if I'm the worst? Yeah, you're just the worst. All right, so when we're doing this one, 5th fret, building it out, when we move out here, D, D sharp, E, G, G sharp, A. When we get rid of these, notice how we now have all the notes that would be charismatic of having that beat. We've got our A, E, C, A, E, A. Boom, donezo. That's our A minor. Look how this one has an A on the lowest note. Well, if we remove that note and we keep this note here, we've got ourselves a good old-fashioned secondary inversion. Hence, if we drop this down, let's say we went to here. If we did this, this would be a 7th chord because we have a D in here. Or not a 7th chord, but we'd have a 4 there. Let's see if we can put something else. Getting rid of that E, E, F, F to G, G, A. We can do that too. Fun. Either way we move these around, we could find ourselves playing an inversion like this. Another great way to do it on the guitar is just to move that chord so you get a third. On this particular one, here's our A, with the A in the bass, mute here on the low end. That's our first inversion, our root position. If you take this A minor and then you put the C here, this is called an A minor 7 or a C6. They're both the same chord, but it influences that C as being a portion on the bottom. If you don't remove that finger, it's just considered an inversion. If you move the finger, that's when it's considered the chord of an A minor 7 or the C6. So knowing that, you can do that everywhere. And that chord actually fits in a lot of songs, you know. Anyway, if I were to play just from here and put the A in the bottom and up top, like Stairway, that absolutely starts off with a descending line in an XL, which goes down in half steps, which begins with A in our root position. And then I think, lastly, if you were to play something like this and then put your lowest E note down, you'd have an E in the bass. Or you can put your E right here, play your A backwards. This is our A, this is our C, and this is our, no, I'm sorry, A, E, and C. And then putting the E in the bass, or even the B. That B is out of tune. But the E, definitely, that would be our E in a second inversion. So being able to know where these notes are on the fretboard allows us to put everything in perspective and move it around. This one aforementioned, when we do the A, E, and then the C, and then the E over here, this is all on the 7th fret. This is a way that we can see our inversions, and by doing it on a piano, oh my God, I'm so tired of these markers. You know how many markers I go through in a year? If anybody has a gift that they would like to send me, I will definitely take the world's best marker. These are the world's worst markers. Let me say it again. They're the worst! All right. Need another pen? Good God. Good God. Bye, Melody. Aloha. Explain harmony on chordal harmony on a guitar. Chordal harmony on a guitar is based on the idea that you could form triads. If you put one more note in, you're adding an extended note. That means that you're stacking a dyad and a dyad and a dyad. When you add another dyad, you can keep going up in thirds. This process is called a harmonic stacking in tertiary. So if we explain it through the eyes of A minor, A, C, E, G, B, D. When you put a G major over the top of a A minor, you get chordal stacking. These chordal chords are called polytones, and the polytones can be inverted. And sometimes I like to see if there's any way to get a new tone out of a new chord or a polychord by adding and subtracting notes. What you'll find is, oh, thanks for being here, Christina. It's nice. Aloha to you. Be well. Hey, Rach. How you doing? How's your day? Let's see. You got 2 more hours before work. Good for you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going over a little music theory. Mike asked a great question, like how... I'm on call with my friend showing her. Oh, cool. I hope that they enjoy music. So yeah, the whole idea, it looks like around the edge, but do. So being able to make these on a piano, oh, nice new pen. It is a good feeling. We would have our A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. This is our root position. this is what our one chord is going to look like. When we go to our first inversion, we are simply, as we said, going to take this A and we're going to put it somewhere else. The lowest note at that point we should be a C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. No matter where you put these, as long as you have A, C, and E in here, this is going to be your inversion 1. Right? And then your secondary inversion looks like this. You're going to have the note of E on the bass. And it doesn't really matter where that E is. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. As long as that E is in the lowest tone, that qualifies or quantifies for a tone that would give you a different feeling. And the reason why is it changes the intonation of where it is. The lower a note is away from the center of the root in an inversion, the more depth it adds, and the more charismatically it makes it sound a little darker and deeper. Why do I label the 6 or 6/4 when you're looking at the labeled inversions? That is a great question. The reason being is the distances between these notes. When we're trying to do a resolution or we're trying to move, we're moving in step. So I think maybe a good way to explain this would be to explain why through the eyes. I hope, Mike, is this a good enough explanation for how they're laid out, how you should write them out, viewing a scale and then viewing the guitar and then the piano? I hope it is. I'm going to erase it. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. All right, where'd my new pen go? There it is. So an inversion is changing the expected order in music, and what we're going to be doing is we're talking about the reason why. I guess the best way to explain it is it's an arrangement of chords that are put into different stackings of tertiary harmony. And to understand that, we must understand what a chromatic scale is. So a chromatic scale has 12 notes. Those are the 1, the augmented 1, the 2, the augmented 2, the 3. The augmented 3 is the major third, and then it has an augmented third, which is the perfect fourth. After the perfect fourth, we have an augmented fourth, which is also called the flat 5. We have the 5 chord. We have the augmented 5th, which is also called the minor 6th. And then we have the 6th, which is called the major 6th, but it's a minor chord from sonority. And then we've got the 7th. But in between there, we have the minor 7th, and that is also called like the flat 7, or it's called the augmented 6th. These all have a couple names, but here's what we see. These are called half steps. The distance between C and C sharp is called a diatone. So in root position, when we do like a C major, we're not expressing all the different notes that are in between them. We're only expressing the 7 that make up the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The minor 2, the minor 3, the minor 6, and the minor 7 are all notes of expression that are in a chromatic scale but not in a diatonic scale, because those are the major 2nd, the major 3rd, the major 6th, and the major 7th. That's what is in do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So when we're explaining how many steps away, when we have an inversion, like let's say that we have our 1 chord, and we have, let's say in the key of G, we've got G, B, and D. The reason why this has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, those represent the notes of here, 6, 4. There are 4 minor seconds that are needed to get to the place into which it resolves. When we have something up top here on the 6, we're talking about the distance from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the rest of the notes that are left inside of this scale until we get back to our resolution. So you're essentially counting the distances between each note. The distances, if you were to count them, A minor second is the smallest increment in music. It's called a half step, or it's called a semitone. And when we add a minor second plus a minor second, we get a major second. When we add a minor second plus a minor second plus a minor second, we get a minor third. Minor second plus a minor second plus a minor second plus a minor second equals a major third. And what we're talking about, just to visualize this on our instrument of choice. Minor second. A minor second plus a minor second equals a major second. Now it's still a dissonance, but it doesn't sound too terribly bad. Another minor second, well, that becomes a minor third. When we add them on in step, that's when we start to get something called tertiary harmony. Oh, it's good seeing you. Hey, how are you? Yeah, I mean, the most common exploration of this is that it uses 6 quarters to refer to the intervals above the bass note. And I think that might be a better explanation than what I just said. So the second inversion is the 5th of the chord is in the bass. For example, in the C major, C, E, and G, the G is in the bass, right? That means that when you're in the second inversion, the C is a 6th above, and the E is a 4th above. Does that make sense? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that doesn't work quite well, does it? So when we're doing a second inversion, if G's down here, we're just saying that the tone to get to a resolution is going to be a 6th above. The E is going to be a 4th above. And the way that I view it is this. There is a way to view relativity of where chords are and how to tell what notes go from what note to another. So when we're trying to view different intervals, the magic number is 9. And the aforementioned, you can only have a perfect as a 1, 4, 5, and an 8. You can have a major or a minor as a 2, 3, 6, and 7. And all of these can be augmented or diminished. Every single one of these notes is an augmentation or a diminishment of some sort in relativity to the 1 or the tonic. So whenever we see something like this, somebody throw out a key signature. Something other than C major. 1 sharp, 2 sharps, no sharps. Yeah, minor seconds are just half steps. And then if you combine them, they become a major second. Because all of music is viewed through the eyes of the major chord and through the eyes of the minor second, it's a stacking process called tertiary harmony. Can somebody, oh, cool. I'm glad that made sense, Arthur. That's why I'm here for you. Cool. So aloha to you. If you can't hang out, why do you label the 6/4? Oh, right on. That's what it is. So somebody name a key. And if we have questions about what keys are, let me just write a quick circle. C has no sharps and flat. G has 1 sharp. That sharp is F sharp on the top line of the treble clef. When we go to D, D has 2 sharps. One is F sharp, and the next one is C sharp. Therefore, it has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. This is called the circle fifths because we go in 5s. C, D, E, F, G, G, A, B, C, D, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E. Each time I go through here, I add and layer on those sharps. F sharp, C sharp, and now G sharp. And I gotta tell you, if you're watching this channel and you don't understand music theory by the time you spend 5, 10, 15 minutes with me, then I'm either doing this wrong or I need to creatively learn a new way to explain music, because I have such a wonderful success rate with all different ages. So if you've always wanted to learn music theory in some capacity, hang out with me, join the channel, become a member. If you're a sugar daddy or mama, hey, let's talk. I could use some money. Other than that, I am pretty altruistic. This is all about having fun and enjoying life. Music really is it for me. When we do B major has all the same fun sharps that were in the key of E, except now we add one. The A. Boom. F sharp is going to have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and then E sharp. And then lastly, C sharp is going to have all of the sharps. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and lastly, B sharp. Those are missing treble clefs. Those are all of our sharps. Somebody, for the love of God, pick a key. Hey. Ooh, F sharp or B flat. Let's do both of them. Lonely is the night when you're all alone. Cool. F sharp, B flat. B flat has two flats. We have B flat and E flat, and F sharp has 6 sharps. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. So, when we're doing something like this, the whole idea is to look at the notes of tonality. One of the things we are looking for is, what is the distance between notes? And if we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sharps right here, if I were to take somebody take a random note from the key of F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp. The reason why there is one sharp in the key of, one flat in the key of F is when we write out the key of F, there's one flat. That flat is B flat. So when we go down a half step from, or up a half step, everything goes up in tone. F goes to F sharp, G goes to G sharp, A goes to A sharp, B flat goes to B natural, C sharp, D sharp, B sharp. Hence, when you know F sharp, you know F, because they work hand in hand. You're not just learning one key, you're learning both. Cool, and then so we're going to name a note. Here we are in one key, here we are in another. If this is the key of B flat, and we have 2 flats, somebody name a note. Any note. Any note will do. And I'll wait for a second. I wore my coat. Okay, A flat. Some guy. Good call. A flat. Somebody name one more note. Ooh, let's do it right here. So we'll do it on the B flat. Here's our A. And here, let's get one more note. We have an A flat out there. Some guy, and I gotta say, some guy has a green name. Some guy is one of the members for this channel. Not sure which tier level you're on, but that is groovy. So A flat and C sharp. Both people chose C sharp. Nice. Since we're dealing with a flat key, B flat, what I'd like to do is just keep with the flat nature. The enharmonic equivalency name of a C sharp is D flat. Because when you go from D to D sharp, and then you have something like C, C sharp, D sharp and E flat are the same name. So when you say C sharp, it's also the name of D flat. We're going to keep it with that. So check this out. A flat, B, C, D flat. Now, since we're in the key here and there's only a B flat and E flat, we're going to need to use accidentals. Even though we're working in the key of B flat or G minor, it does not matter. The 2 notes that we're talking about in correlation to this is going to be a 4th apart. When we have this to here, that's a 2nd. When we go up here, that would be a 3rd, and then up above is a 4th. Now, here's where it's very interesting and hard with these 2 choices. Oh, look at that. Somebody throwing some Skrilla. Mike is making stuff. Welcome to the monthly membership. Oh, very cool. Welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. I very much appreciate that, Mike. I hope you dig it. And if that's gifting that out to somebody, thank you for doing that. I'm not sure how to read this thing yet, but either way, I'm stoked to have you around and asking questions to boot. So here's where we go. We're going to go A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. That is 4 notes. So I'm going to put a 4 here. What is our magic number? 9. What is 9 minus 4? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So if we do that, we have what? Oh, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So when we go up, it's going to be a 4th of some sort. And when we go down, taking this note and going down, ready? A, G, F, E, D. This interval is called a 4th of some sort, and this interval is called a 5th. 4th above, 5th below. Always going to be that way. So here's our thing. We say, cool, we're A flat now. Don't even worry about the key signature. But A flat, the D flat, and then above. So we have to know a little bit about key signatures. Here's where music theory becomes interesting. The reason why we know A flat, B, C, D, E, F, G, A is because hypothetical chords make a lot of sense too. And I know this is a real jump down the rabbit hole, but watch this nonsense. In the key of A minor, there are no sharps and no flats because we have taken away the third, the sixth, and the seventh. A minor is the same key as C major. Just like when I put the sharps back in, C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp, because F sharp's in the key of G, C sharp's in the key of D, and G sharp's in the key of A, giving 3 sharps. A major and F sharp minor share a key. Just like that. And then when we go to, let's say, a hypothetical key, A sharp, B sharp, C double sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F double sharp, G double sharp. Now this one's a hypothetical, but the reason why I know A major so well is because I know how to say double sharps. A sharp, B sharp, C double sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F double sharp, G double sharp. It's the same thing in my mind as just thinking, oh, A sharp is B flat. Why would I call A sharp? Sharp, sharp, double, double, double. There are 3 double sharps and 4 sharps in the key of A sharp. It's a lot to talk about. I would much rather call it B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A. That is much easier with 2 flats. Waka waka. Than it is to have to worry about this hypothetical key. Same thing with when we go here. When we go to this key, A, when I flatten these, I'd have A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat. Why is A flat minor the same as C flat? They share the same key signature. So by doing this in this nature, I become very aware of what all these notes and notations are. Well, when we do A flat, the reason why A, B, C, D, E, F, and G are, whoo, there it goes. Here goes my mustache. When we have the key of A major, as soon as we go to A flat, we can say to A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G. Why? We have just taken away the sharps and put flats on all our natural notes. Now that we have our spelling, we can use our system here. How many sharps and flats are there in the key of A flat? There are 4. A flat shares a key signature. Anybody? Ooh, F minor. So when we have this interval, we can say, is there a D flat in the key of A flat? If the answer is yes, you are done. It is called a perfect fifth. What is above shall be below. The distance between this A flat and this D flat is a perfect fifth. Interesting? If we were to go over here to our F sharp, one of our previous mentioned keys, and put down any random note, let's just put down a, how about a G? And then we'll go up a fifth. Now this is interesting. G, A, B, C, D. In this key, we have a G sharp and a D sharp. Interesting enough. We know what the key of G major is. We know what the key of F sharp is. So let's just write that out, or actually just look up here because it's already written out. When we take this note and go up to the D here, we have a D sharp of a fifth. As we just, actually, let me change that because we just did this. Let's do it as a sixth. Cool. G, when it goes up to this space above, first space to the top of the treble clef, this is going to be an E sharp, right? Because the only note we don't have here, we've got F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and then E sharp. The only sharp left in the key that makes it C sharp is B sharp. So if we were to go down here and put this note below, this is going to be an interval, and this is going to be an interval. Well, here we go. G sharp, E sharp. Is there a G to an E sharp? Yeah. Well, if we were to do this, F sharp to D sharp would be a major 6. So the distance between G sharp and E sharp is a major 6 by working through the key of F sharp. Or you can go over here, do a little mind finagling, and say, we know that we're talking about G. So I'm going to put both of them out. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. we should at this point know that G has one sharp, it's F sharp. So when we go to G sharp, that F is going to be a double sharp. G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, and then F double sharp. Now, even though this is hypothetical, we're still working for it to see our intervals. Is there an E sharp in the key of G sharp? The answer is yes. This is a major sixth. Cool? So if you remember what we just explained to our major, diatonic, and chromatic scale, we would say, well, if we put this note below, if this is a major sixth, what is the opposite of a major? Perfects are always perfects. The opposite of major is a minor, so the opposite of minor is a major, and all of these are augmented or diminished. So the opposite of a major is a minor. What is 9 minus 6? 3. The distance between E sharp and G sharp is a minor third, and the distance between G sharp and E is a major sixth. Woo! I know that's a little bit wrong. Oh, bye, Rachie. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good time at work. I'll be home sooner or later. A couple of my students bailed today. I'm going to do lessons for them, recap lessons for them anyways, and send them along. And then I'm going to try to get home as soon as I can to closing time for me, because I'm looking forward to seeing Rufus. Okay. So I'm going to do it. I follow 9 and 12, but I see the song Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, I know it's stupid complicated, but there's this sus 13. Is it probably age? Oh, no. Here, let's chit-chat about that for a second. Cool. Bohemian Rhapsody, what key is it in? If I had to guess, I'd probably say C. Let's look it up on the old... Have you guys heard of the internet? It's amazing. You can pretty much look up anything on it. It's nuts. Bohemian... I can't spell either. Rhapsody. Ugh. Version 5, yeah. So E minor 7. So it's in G maybe? No. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, though you stay from reality. Only your eyes look up to the sky and see. I'm just a poor boy, hiding no sin, because I really get too high, get too low, anyway the way it was. That's not the right chord. So it's a 6 chord. Ooh, harmonic minor there? Never would have thought that. Didn't mean to make you cry, and I'm not back this time. Tomorrow, carry on, carry on. What does it do? G? So, over the top of this, this one that I have here is a very, very basic layout. But if I were to, you know, approach that 13 chord and how to like just say what is it for the sus13 in this key, if we were playing the sus13 on the G, we'd have G, B, D, G. Anytime we go above the octave, we must include the minor seventh or the major seventh. So if we were playing a 13 chord, G, A, B, C, D, E. Our 13, like I aforementioned, is kind of like a G6. G, B, E, D. That's the whole melody. So over the top of it as a G, B, D, it will have the F, and then it will have the E. So this is our whole chord. And that sounds horrible mooshed together, but as soon as we move these clusters anywhere else, keep maybe the E down here. I would even say that even the major seventh would sound kind of cool. So when playing through here, if I were to do a sus13 on there, you would take G, B, D, F, E, and then you would put a raised fourth. So you'd have this kind of. But when you play it all together, it feels very blocked. So the whole idea about the floating melody of doing. The whole reason why it does that kind of like Rachmaninoff 1, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 6, or 13, 5. What a pretty song though. Pretty. That threw me. I'm just a this one. I would probably sit down and have a good run through this. Key change. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back over that song. What a cool one. Did that explain a little bit more about the 13th and how to find some sort of movement on there? Some guy retracted that message. It's perfectly explained. During the bridge, the portion, I remember he goes to the discordant. Yeah, adds a lot of stress. Also, it is the concept of what we were talking about with these intervals. By being able to move those intervals up, it really doesn't matter as long as you keep the G on the bass. You could go G, D, F, G, B, D, E, G, B, A, E, F, E, D. And as long as you keep that kind of like... Nice. No, nothing. No, nothing gotta say, I've never played this song. I have to go back now after today's done and play it. Very, very cool. For those of you who are following along, I got to give a big shout out to Mike making stuff and some guy. Members owe this channel and helping out, doing a little bit of music stretch here. We asked about sustained chords, 13th chords, how to see and generate those in keys which are hypothetical, like G sharp, or keys that we should know already, like a G major. We talked about tonality and how to stack things as thirds, which is called tertiary harmony. And then we looked on how to judge intervals. Usually when you have the magic number of 9 and you could figure out the interval spacings, like a 1, 3, 5, you should be able to figure out most other things. If you have a note, let's say it's C and it goes to E, and this is called a major third, if you put this C below, if you put this E below that C, this major third now becomes a minor sixth. If that does make sense, then you are well on your way to understanding intervals in the first, second, and dare I say third position. And since we were talking about intervals, maybe I'll just put that little chippy champ nonsense in there. Let's work here, and this will be the last thing we talk about. Mike, if you're still following along, throw me a key. Or some guy, or anybody else that's out there hanging out. Throw me a key. And if need be, I can throw up the circle of fifths so that we can see what's what. Maybe a flat key. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. And if this hasn't dawned on you, the further away from C in relativity, the darker the chords get. They're lighter here, and the further around the circle that we move and add sharps, they're like a little bit more darker these chords will get. In relativity to themselves as well. Throw me a key, if you throw me a key. Oh, I'm going to have Bohemian Rhapsody stuck in my head all day. That's amazing. E flat, yes. All right. Here's a little thing that you could do to become very well intertwined with your music circle fifths and understand key signatures. Write out all of them. If you had E major, E flat, E sharp, E double flat, E double sharp, I mean, it would kind of look like this. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Those are our 7 notes of the musical alphabet which follow suit. Therefore, each one of these keys is going to have them in order, and then the last one is going to be what you would consider your diminished. Otherwise, they alternate. So I'm going to put my dat over here. If we just go to the middle one and call this one E minor, that works quite well. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. That's how you spell E minor. When you're spelling E major, you would have E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, and D sharp. If you were to make this into E sharp, you would have E sharp, F double sharp, G double sharp, A sharp, B sharp, C double sharp, and then D double sharp. Now, hypothetical key, but the fact that I know that solidifies the heck out of knowing E major. And if you know E major is having this, and you know that your E minor is just a derivative of that, well, how do you spell E flat? Flatten the E, flatten the F, becomes F natural. G sharp becomes G, A becomes A flat, B becomes B flat, C becomes C natural, D sharp becomes D natural. This is how we are to spell E flat. And then if we were to do E double flat, we would have E double flat, F flat, G flat, A double flat, B double flat, C flat, D flat. Hypothetical in and of itself, but do you see how doing hypothetical keys helps to solidify exactly what E flat is and what E is? So here we go. If you can go, there are 7 notes in a scale, and you can go E has 4 sharps. F sharp that's in G, C sharp that's in D, G sharp that's in A, and now we have a D sharp. If you take away those 4 sharps, how many flats are you left with? You betcha, 3. Let's do it with an easy key. There are no sharps and flats in the key of C. 7 notes in a scale. If you take away all those, how many sharps and flats are there in the key of C sharp? All 7. If G has 1 sharp and that sharp is F sharp, how many notes are in a scale? 7. Take away that 1 sharp, which is F sharp. How many flats are in G flat? 6. What's the only note in G flat that's not a sharp? The one that was in it, or a flat. G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F. Because it's the one note in the key of G that's a sharp. So today, when we're talking about E flat, we know it because we know our E major. 2 takeaways: E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D. If this is the spelling What we just talked about is to have a chord, you must have the 1, 3, and the 5. If you want to go above the octave with the E flat, you must include the minor 7th. The minor 7th in the key of E flat is D flat. If you wanted to add the 13, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. In the key of E flat, by adding these notes together, you receive the chord of an E flat. What is it? E flat major 13. Oh, sorry, E flat 13. Here's the point that I want to make with a weird key. If you did not go above the octave, there is no need to add in the minor 7th or the major 7th. And if you do not do that and you still add this note as the 13th, it is not just called an E flat 13, it is called an E flat add 13, because simply you are just taking the triad, stacking it, 1st, 3rd, 5th, and then you are adding the 13th. There is no minor 7th. So if you don't have that, it's called adding a chord. So if you were to take a C add 11, there are no sharps and flats in the key of C. And this will be the last thing, I swear, because I want to go get a drink of water. C major, no sharps and flats. Here's a C, E, G. If I wanted to make a C add 9, I would just put the 9th. C, D. C, D. I can either put it there or put it up here. It doesn't matter where I put it. That is a C add 9. C, E, G, D. If I wanted to go above it, I would have to have a B flat because that's the minor 7th of the chord. If I wanted to have a, that's what this is now, C9. If I wanted to have a C major 9, it would have the note that's inside the key, the B natural. It would be spelled C, E, G, 1, 3, 5, major 7, 9. I hope that made sense. These are ideas in music that once you grab and understand this kind of stuff, it just sets forth the snowball. It just sets forth the rock down the hill. You will understand so much more. Michael Schultz, you play saxophone? What level are you at saxophone? Beginner, intermediate, advanced? And what are you playing? B flat or E flat? Or what is baritone? Baritone's an E flat, isn't it? That's a big one. Nice. Speaking of E flat, that's one. Nice. I'm not kidding, dude. I taught more than less. I got taught more in the last 3 years of theory. Yeah. I tell you what, man. I had some really boring teachers. I try to make this fun for everybody of all ages. You know, it did not come naturally, and now that I teach it, I know it sounds like it's natural. It comes, but all this took a while. But I usually have an ongoing joke. How do you know music theory? How do you know music theory? Oh, you learn all of music. And that's a fun statement because that's almost impossible. I really can't express. It's just baby steps. It's one thing at a time. It's learning intervals. It's putting it in practical application on the piano, and then not taking yourself too serious and having fun with it. So when doing something like this, like a gentleman just bumped on, they were talking about playing E flat instrument. So the whole idea is that's a whole nother level of awesomeness. When you have a concert pitch instrument and an E flat instrument, you have to learn how to modulate it. So let's say that we were playing just this scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and I want to change this to Lydian. I want to do this at C Lydian. I would say this, and people will go, oh, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C. Well, what is this? What am I playing? Oops. What am I playing right here? What am I doing? Why is this not working for me? Why doesn't my brain work today? When doing this, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. When we play this in the key of C, this is called C major, but this is definitely G major. C Lydian is G Ionian. Well, this becomes modal theory. And if we're going to put it in the practical application of our saxophone player that just joined, if they're playing an E flat instrument or a B flat instrument, they still have to modulate. Well, the way we do that is if this song that we're playing, let's say on a piano, is a 4/4 groove in the key of C, and we play the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and then the 1 chord, that is basically doing this. The most standard progression in all of music. Well, an E-flat saxophone can't just play C, F, and G. They have to modulate. When we're in C, it's in concert pitch. That's fine, but on an instrument, if we're in the key of C here, that instrument now for E-flat must go up a major 6. C, D, E, F, G, A. So when somebody's playing in concert pitch A, I'm actually on an E-flat instrument playing in A major. In a B-flat instrument, same concept. You would be moving it just for the relative pitch. So going a major second away, you would say, cool, we're in the key of C here. Well, what do? We can either go down a major second or up a minor 7th. That's what that interval system did for us. So the quicker you get at that, you would go, oh, E-flat instrument, if I was here doing this, I would be playing the same thing, but I wouldn't be playing C, F, and G. I would be playing A. And then I would go to my 4 chord, A, B, C, D, E, and then back to A. I hope that makes sense. So modulation is a huge part of music, writing, composition, and understanding. And as soon as you can grasp the concept of modal structures, it starts to become cool. And tell you what, thank you for the accolades, Mike. I hope that you ask questions now that you got the member thing. Try to pop up for all of these. I will always take special attention to try to devote time to you and answer any music questions. That's what I do for anybody on this channel that becomes a member. There are different tier levels for like $1.99 a month. I will go out of my way to find an answer to any question you ask me if I don't understand it. And then if you are part of the Dream Maker series, that means that, you know, you believe in me a little bit more than most people in my life do. It's a crazy tier. I think it's like $49.99. Basically, you're throwing money at me, so my dream of a music channel happens sooner. And I'm never going to ask anybody to put money and bread in my jar just because I want to make the money. The whole idea is I would like to provide a safe space for people to learn what I'm teaching, also so I could learn, and then for people of all ages to come together in a community center which stresses mental well-being and healthy living through the eyes of music. That's my goal and my dream as an individual. I've got a couple people on Island that really support me what I'm doing right here. Laura and Spencer Ahuna over at Big Island Guitars, on which I rent a room here and I teach. Here's what it looks like. Each day I put out all of my gear and put it right back up when I don't have 2 days back to back. I teach music composition arrangement to all levels, beginning and to advanced. I myself have a teacher and am learning daily, and the quest for music knowledge never really goes away. So whether it's learning how to play a new instrument, like I learned how to play the recorder. I had a heck of a time with it when I was younger. Long story short is, this thing was kind of baffling to me as a kid. We had them in the South. I looked at it, I was like, just like everybody else does, didn't ever make sense. And then I had a student who took drums, and their mother wanted me to teach the younger sibling recorder. So I did, and blew my mind how fun it was and actually going through the process of learning how to read. So the long story short is, learn how to do anything and everything in music. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun. Maybe get a mohawk if you want. It's about time to get rid of this. I was just doing this to encourage one of my students to be different. Because sometimes in life, if you are different, embrace it. Why not? If you enjoyed this today, thumbs up, put something cool in the comment section. Please share it with people. That's the way that the algorithm hits it. Lay, how you doing? How ya doing? No pun intended. Aloha to you. You just caught the tail end of this. Best of love and life to you as well, my friend. Remember, try and get out there and do something musical today. I see music everywhere I go, so being able to provide something like this is lots of fun. I hope that somebody sometime watches this and gets a nugget of fun from it. And remember, you can always put something in the comment section of any video, and I will jump on there and I will get back to you and do my best to find and ascertain the information you request. Other than that, I think I'm gonna go have a quick snack or something before my next student comes. I appreciate you. Aloha. Good day. Is that what I got? I'm good. Oh, good. I'm glad you're good. Today's been an interesting day. Oh, yeah. Here's my next student. Aloha to you. Aloha.